So for more on the story, we now welcome to studio Mark Power, the Deputy British Ambassador to Israel. Mark, thank you so much for being here in studio. So Boris Johnson writing an opinion piece on this very controversial issue in an Israeli newspaper. Let's start there. That's pretty unusual. You don't see that often. Talk us through the strategy.
No, so the Prime Minister, as you pointed out, he feels very strongly about this issue. Actually, if I go back to 2017 and the centenary of the Balfour Declaration, when I was working with him and personally talking to him about this issue, it's very clear that at that time the Prime Minister, he feels strongly about the security of Israel. He felt strongly about the Balfour Declaration and its legacy in terms of establishing the Jewish state. But he also felt that the other promise in that the rights of the civil and political rights of Palestinians is an important piece and a yet incomplete part of the work. So it's something he feels very personally about. He's a strong defender, as you know, of Israel and a great friend of Israel, and he's been here many times. And he felt moved to make this appeal in a public fashion because he felt so strongly about the matter.
He also says it would put in jeopardy the relations that Israel has with certain Arab nations. What kind of response has there been to this opinion piece so far?
So I think, the Arab countries that we're talking about, I think they've made their views quite publicly clear. You've seen a number of comments from the UAE ambassador to the US, for example, Ambassador Otaiba, writing publicly as well. I think what these comments reflect are friends of Israel putting on record some of the elements of choice that exist for the Israeli government as it approaches this issue in order to help contribute to the debate in a way that makes the issue makes it clear what basis the decision was being made on. In terms of some of the reaction, I think obviously from that part of the world there's been support. In terms of in Israel, I think we've seen a mixed reaction, but I think a lot of people have actually said to me, some in private but others in public, that they really welcomed the contribution of the debate, that they know that the Prime Minister Johnson is a great friend of Israel, and they know that this comes from a place of concern.
If Israel does go ahead with its annexation plans, what kind of steps, if any, are likely from Boris Johnson? Would he likely introduce some kind of sanction? What is he threatening to do if things don't go the way he suggests?
Well, I think that what he said and what we've said is that this can't go sort of unremarked. It can't go unacted upon in some way. I'm not sure that our relationship with Israel, for example, our commitment to Israel's security and stability is unwavering, and he made that very clear in his article. So I don't think that we're talking about huge ruptures, with a country with which we have strong and immutable ties. But I think that the bigger question, actually, I think, is what kind of relationship Israel wants with the outside world, and that's what the Prime Minister was trying to talk about. For the Israeli Prime Minister, for this government, do they want to resolve these issues in line with international law as part of the broader community of nations and those which consider ourselves respectful of international law, or does Israel want to kind of take a different path? And we really urging them to be part of the community of nations that they're in right now, which is supporting international law. And very sadly, we're seeing in another part of the world, another country, China, for example, contravening international law in Hong Kong in a way that worries us, and we don't want to be in that kind of combative relationship over these kind of issues.
Very finally, and just briefly speaking, a few weeks ago the US said ultimately this is the decision for Israeli leaders. If Israeli leaders decide that whether it's because of security reasons or for other reasons this is the best move for the country, do you feel that the relationship between the UK and Israel would stay as strong, and would there be support still from Britain?
Like I said, Britain's support for Israel's security, our alliances on national security issues, I don't think, but we have to see, I don't think those sorts of issues are under threat. What I think, though, is consider the British public and consider how this will be viewed more broadly. I mean, a number of Jewish community groups in the UK themselves have expressed, for example, their concern about annexation because they worry about how it will affect the wider support in the UK and the wider friendship and strong ties which Israelis and British people have. And so, like I say, it's not about threatening. People are not threatening. We're not in that kind of debate. These are friends talking to each other and commenting on a matter of international relations. We're just pointing out that there might be consequences that go with certain courses of action.
Thank you so much. That's Mark Power, the Deputy British Ambassador to Israel. We appreciate you being here in